What's up, entrepreneurs? Today I want to talk about if you were thinking to maybe get the Canon M50 Mark II as an upgrade from the M50, what would you get? If you're a regular content creator, probably this video isn't for you. This is going to be more specifically looking at these cameras and these features from a entrepreneur's perspective, and just some of the work that we do that may be slightly different if you're only recording YouTube videos. Because if you're really only recording like YouTube videos, 10-15 minute videos max, maybe 20 minutes even, you do want to do some live streams, so clean HDMI is important. An easy recommendation would be the Canon M50 Mark II. It has a lot of the same things that I was hoping that the M50 Mark II would have, and it just doesn't. Only difference is it kind of has that flip up screen. So if you want to get a recommendation for just regular content creation, YouTube kind of stuff, then M50 Mark II is going to be the camera to go to. As far as entrepreneurs, we got some other stuff that we need to cover. The specific cameras I want to talk about in this lineup, there are some things that make some of these good recommendations. You've probably seen these compared side by side, or saying like what else is available in the $600 to $800, even $900 price range. That would make sense as an upgradable camera. And there's a reason why I'll get to at the end why I probably wouldn't pick any of these cameras as an upgradable path. But all of these cameras, for the most part, have a lot of the same features. At least 4K 30 frames per second at the max, and also including 4K 24 frames per second, 1080p, 120 frames per second, clean HDMI out. Some of them have headphone jack or headphone port. All of them just about, I believe, has the ability to charge the camera internally, which is extremely important and valuable. And so they all meet the baseline requirements for what you would look for in a camera. They are just stuck at 30 minutes. But I want to take a couple off the list right off the top, because things like limits, recording limits, even on top of additional recording limits, that's kind of starting to phase out, or should be in the camera market. And especially for entrepreneurs, I don't think it makes sense to make lateral camera purchases unless you just want another or a second camera, or if I just want the A6400, for example, or something similar, to have a lot of great quality features and everything else, and just sit on a tripod and be my live streaming camera. I'm taking off the Fuji X-T200, which comes in at about $699, and the Fuji X-T30 that comes in at $899 body only, so it doesn't include a lens with the kit. On the X-T30, it's 10 minutes 4K limit. So even if you're doing 4K 30 frames per second, you get 10 minutes. So you're gonna have to keep constantly hit record. It's not gonna start over for you every 10 minutes. If you're doing HD video, then you're stuck at 15 minutes. And the X-T200, I think, is a little bit better, where it's at least just like 30 minutes for 1080p, but you're still getting some kind of an issue at that. Right there at that functionality type of listing, the Z50 comes off the list as well. That comes in about $760, even with the kit lens. And that's because the screen, instead of it flipping up like this, it's literally flipping down like this. Other stuff weird about Fuji cameras is it has okay autofocus, not completely reliable. Like extremely reliable autofocus by far is going to be Canon, and it's going to be Sony. So stuff like that automatically kind of takes those out the running. So literally, if you just wanted a camera, A6100, Canon M50 Mark II. Problem is, and why for entrepreneurs I really wouldn't recommend any of these cameras, and if you're creating content for real, as an entrepreneur, you need to get away from the 30-minute recording limits. All of these cameras have them. Yeah, it's close enough in price. Yeah, you could find it cheaper, but really that record limit is a problem. And furthermore, like things like not just the internal charging, which most of these cameras have the ability to do, is that feature that I've really only found on the Sony cameras, the A6400 and the A6600 respectively, is that recording internally in the camera. You also can like send the audio this way, like I'm doing now, from this microphone to my camera, and live stream at the same time is unmatched, completely unmatched. And so just that ability to document your process, seriously create content while you're working, is so extremely valuable. So when we go and we're starting to do, even just in smaller spaces, if you're a speaker like I am, yeah, you're doing that digital now. Maybe next year some of that is speaking from a physical stage instead of it being a digital stage. That's important, to be able to put your camera on a tripod, not have to set a timer or a reminder, taking yourself out of train of thought, or missing the Q&A segment, which is extremely valuable just to reproduce micro content for yourself. That kind of stuff it's a must. It is an absolute must. And so that's like why, for the most part, the go-to recommendation for most entrepreneurs that's upgrading is the A6400. If you want a bigger battery, maybe you are going to have it off the tripod, back and forth, traveling a lot or something like that, the A6600 would do you well, and have a built-in, headphone jack, much bigger battery, internal stabilization to help when you are using a lens like I'm using the Sigma 16 that isn't stabilized. So honestly, when it comes to like upgrading a camera, really upgrade the camera. Don't just pick based on price. Always pick based on the features that you need, because if you're running your business like a business as an entrepreneur in 2020, especially moving forward in 2021, that means creating content. That also may mean documenting your experience and your journey. Maybe you aren't a full-time vlogger, but you're at least setting a camera up someplace, doing a quick 1 or 2 minute piece to camera, recording some client calls or something, sending that stuff to an editor and letting them do the work. And you're just simply letting a camera record you and capture some of your content to reproduce for LinkedIn, social media on Instagram, Facebook, and all kinds of stuff. So much value in that. And I think when we buy a camera solely based on the price, we are missing so much, and it results in these emails and these DMs that I get on Instagram and Facebook. Can my camera do this? How can I make my camera do this? And the honest answer is it can't. So to avoid all that stuff, just buy based on the actual features that you need versus on the price only. Lastly, I said I was going to show you, or not really show you, but tell you how I buy cameras like this all the time, and they are gently used, working in extremely good value and condition, but for a fraction of the price. What you really want to do is get up at about 5 a.m. Honestly, the earlier, the better. And here's what's happening. They have had enough time to process this over the last 1 or 2 days. Whatever new cameras and inventory that's coming in. Now what you want to do is get up about 5:30 a.m. I'm in Central Standard Time. So I'm still good if I'm looking at Pacific Standard Time, or I'm still good at 6 a.m. even if I'm looking at Eastern Standard Time. So that's a nice sweet spot. Yes, you can check at later hours, but anywhere between 5:30 up to 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time is a good time to check, because that nightly and those previous days inventory of cameras being sold now are at a place that they can show up. If you message them, and I actually executed on this, hey, do you have any Sony a6600s in stock? I'm seeing that in your used section, you don't. They're going to say no, because technically the camera does not have the stuff and it's not listable yet. At the point to where they can list it is the following morning. That's how I literally got this camera that I'm talking on right now. That next morning, 6 a.m., this camera was there, where that last night, the night before, it wasn't. So what you're doing is catching the inventory as soon as it hits the website. Now you can go ahead and buy it. Buy whatever it is that you want to buy all at once, and do not wait. I literally had like B&H Photo, Amazon Warehouse, Adorama, KEH, all of these sites, and I'm going to link them in the description down below as well, up, and I'm checking to see who has the best price, and then who also has a camera that's not like it's a big chip in the side or this huge scratch or something. I had Adorama checked. Literally, it's in my cart. I'm going to get now a lens. By the time I look through the lens, go through that same process, the camera has been sold. It's no longer in my cart anymore. So by the time you check at noon, 10 a.m., even 8 a.m., those cameras are gone, because other people that know this process as well, they already bought their cameras. So that's how I've been able to buy gently used cameras that are pretty much in brand new condition since 2017. All of my cameras have been used, and all of them have done exceptionally well for me to use them in my work and use them for videos, and have been extremely reliable without fault. So if you want to test that out for yourself, open up all the tabs, then I'm going to link to the websites down below where you can get great gear from different reputable websites. But check that out. And if you guys have any other tips on how you buy gear, let me know in the description. But if you want to know lenses, how can you get the best price on lens and what lenses should you buy, I want to put a video on the page or on the video right now where you can check it out, where I went through my lenses, why I use certain ones for live streaming and just pick them, and hopefully that can help you pick your lens. So click on the video on the screen to check that out.